You guys think the news is over for
Leaky
Black
balls,
Ops 7?
Leaky balls leak balls by a sub, or you gay JK?
You think the news for that is over? Oh, no siree, no siree. You know for a fact Belly Luz just made another video on Call of Duty.
World's heaviest balls is from Sunako.
And literally says Activision just got crushed. Call of Duty lost, and it's not even close. So I'm curious to see. This was 3 days ago from Belly News. You know for a fact I love to hear some Call of Duty news. Always. It's always the greatest thing to hear. I'm so curious to see what this is about. So curious.
Co has had big old balls with ABBC07.
Shh. Quiet with your... Quiet.
You are gay, I saw you kiss boy winter.
And stop kissing each other, chat, you gay mofos.
Right now, we're going through a monumental shift in the industry because for 20 years, Battlefield and COD have been the story of the shooter genre.
Being gay.
Others have risen and fallen, and
honestly,
mostly, or at least in great part,
gay.
that's been because of EA trying to beat Call of Duty, right? In doing that, they almost ran Battlefield into the ground. Just look at Battlefield Hardline.
Yep.
Not only that, their attempts to have yearly shooters to compete with COD even led to the death of the Medal of Honor franchise. But even
rest in peace, Medal of Honor. Rest in peace. I think there were some good Medal of Honor games in that franchise, but unfortunately they try to shit it out almost every single year or something like that, right? Because there was a lot or so.
Stop being gay, but I like floating through walls.
Shut up, Amari. Anyways, like I said, like it's because they were trying to compete with Call of Duty, and I'm just like, dude, that's what kind of ruined all the other shooter games during that time.
with all that pain and toil, it's never been a contest. Call of Duty has topped US sales charts almost every year since 2008. There are exceptions. They tend to be massive crossover hits. Hogwarts Legacy, Red Dead 2, GTA 5, games that reach audiences entirely beyond shooters. But the thing with Battlefield is it's never broken through like that. It managed to rank 4th in 2011 and 2013, and then it peaked with Battlefield 1 in 2016, where it came tantalizingly close, finishing 2nd. But who did it lose to? Well, it lost to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, one of the franchise's weakest
Oh man, Infinite Warfare sure is something, to be honest.
entries, and one that Activision bundled with Modern Warfare Remastered just to shift more copies.
I remember that. I remember during that time or so, they made a remaster for that game because, you know, it's because everyone was so tired of the futuristic shit. It's because it kept coming out every single year. That's the problem. We had Advanced Warfare, which was not that great, I'm going to be honest with you. And then I think we had, what is it, Black Ops 3 afterwards? Black Ops 3 was a more better refined version of Advanced Warfare. But then after that, the other dev team made Infinite Warfare, which, like, the story was good. Like, the campaign was actually really good for that one. But, like, it's just kind of like, it's like more futuristic shit. So it just felt like a more soulless version of Black Ops 3.
After that, Battlefield 2042 dropped them to 5th. And every
The campaign
year,
is fine, but the
articles
multiplayer
ask
was
whether
fucking
Call of
terrible,
Duty will
though.
finally fall.
That shit was
Every
dog shit
year,
for that
answer
multiplayer.
has been
I did
no.
not play it that
Except
much.
This year, something's genuinely different. Call of Duty is struggling, reviews are harsh, player counts are down, and the reception feels like one of the weakest.
Hold up. We all know for a fact, when they show player count, we have to see, granted, of course, it's, you know, during the process or so when making the video or so. My question is, right, where is it at now? Where is Black Ops 7 now? Let's find out. Where is it at right now? Oh. Not even the weekend shit helped out that much. It kind of helped it out for a bit, but like even then it did not really help out that much. Oh man. Yeah, because it had a double EXP weekend and everything. Okay, all right. You want to know something too as well? This number specifically, right? Or this number specifically in the last 24 hours doesn't mean it's on Black Ops 7. Because remember, all the other Call of Duty games are on the same launcher because they put all the fucking games together. So this is just an inflated number. So this is basically a combination of all the other Call of Duty in that same launcher. Just letting you know.
years. We're seeing people around the space look at the game.
So that's
and
not
say,
even the
"We
accurate
have a
number of how many
campaign,
players are
we have an
actually
endgame
playing this game."
PvE, we have a battle royale, we have a this, we have a that. Why are people not resonating? And I would say it's often ended up feeling a little bit like slop. And while that's been going on, Electronic Arts is claiming that Battlefield 6 is the best-selling shooter of the year.
Yeah.
Not just claiming it either. The sales figures we do have are truly staggering. Industry analyst Matt Piscatella started posting Circana's US sales data for the month of October. Battlefield 6 is not just the best-selling game of October. It's not just the best-selling shooter of the year. It's the best-selling game of this year to date.
Damn.
It instantly displaced Monster Hunter Wilds. And
Now. EA, don't get your ego inflated, okay? All right? Just because you did it once, you must pace yourself to do it again. Don't push it too hard like the other Battlefield games, all right? Just because you did well this time, keep the momentum how it is, and you will outsell Call of Duty forever. Just saying.
Well, we know Wilds absolutely fell
Don't go
off.
back to your
It
old
got,
ways.
What, 10 million sales in its first month? Absolutely gargantuan numbers, which allowed it to hold that top spot for 3 quarters this year, and of course, to actually outsell EA and Take-Two sports games. A Battlefield game has came in and beaten all of those things. And as a lifelong fan of Battlefield,
That's because everyone was
that is
tired of
not
Call of Duty and
something
their
that I am used
bullshit,
to.
you know?
And the franchise comparisons are staggering here. October sales alone surpassed the entire lifetime US total of Battlefield 1. You didn't hear that wrong, by the way. 1 month, October, the entire life of Battlefield 1. The previous peak of the series.
That's
I have to be honest with you,
crazy.
there's still a little goblin in my head saying, there's no way that's true. Now, to be clear, I do believe it is true, but that's just to really sell you on how just staggering and not normal sales like this are for the Battlefield franchise. And other comparisons only make it look stronger. So Battlefield 6 is outpacing every premium game of the last 3 years. And the last title to sell more than this game on its launch was actually 2022's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And that means that Battlefield just outlaunched both 2023 and 2024's Call of Duty games. It beat both of them. After
That's
20 years of losing, they are
crazy.
now ahead. But you probably noticed the video's not over yet.
Of
So
course.
As it turns out, there is a little bit of a wrinkle to all of this.
Oh?
Now, regardless of whether you're playing, there's one thing we have in common. That's the Black Fridays here. It means it's time to do our Christmas
Oh
shopping.
my God,
And if
Black
you've got someone
Friday
who's impossible to
sale.
buy for, then today's sponsor, Novium, may just solve
Wow,
that problem.
you get a spinning
This is the
pen,
Hopper
chat.
pen.
That's
It's a
a
precision
crazy
engineered
spinning
pen that
pen.
hovers
You guys want to
between
spend
2.5
$200 for a
magnetic
spinning
base. It's
pen?
made of
That's crazy.
shopping done. The link is down in the description, and you get free shipping to most countries.
Spinning
For all
pen,
those amazing
chat.
numbers, we've got the best-selling shooter of the year sitting at 58% positive recent reviews over in Steam. Kind of wild, right? And look, the month since launch for this game has been busy, and basically not all of it has went that well. The major complaints run along 3 lines, where the maps are too small and feel
Yep.
designed for COD players,
Yep.
the free-to-play and live service elements are too aggressive, and the DICE are not responding to community problems fast enough. And you know what? There's truth to all of those claims. I'd say the core game is genuinely great, but
Should
it did
make me at the
launch
top
surrounded
10.
by
I play
friction.
Mania.
On the topic of the
I
maps,
don't really play the normal
I
Osu.
personally do lean a little bit in that direction. I do think they need more large maps. Now, these map size complaints are likely because they overcorrected from Battlefield 2042's sprawling
yes.
emptiness. That's because 2042 was supposed to be a 128-player battle royale. So that these maps are a bit more compact and action-packed may be proof
Same.
that DICE learned their lesson, but just a little bit too hard. Now, the problem is that the live service model makes it tricky to address criticisms like this in any way that's fast. And that's because when you've committed to launching a battle royale and a tournament mode 2 weeks after release,
Tournament mode?
that, eats dev and QA bandwidth across the board,
Huh?
even if it's only the Ripple Effect studio building that, it'll still mean it's hard to get things going, because all that content still needs to be integrated into the main game. There will be bottlenecks. And on top of that, having an entire season's worth of content ready to ship in the first month, well, that did mean that fixes took weeks. Things like the Bloom, recoil stuff, flying about on drones powered by sledgehammers. And players didn't notice all of that. Each element became a new point of friction because Battlefield's success has also exposed one of the franchise's oldest problems, and that is it's always had a fractured fan base, split between settings, gameplay styles, all of that. But it actually goes a bit deeper, because within a single Battlefield audience, you have got demands for distinct class identities. There's been a whole debate over locked weapon playlists, even things like naval combat, specific military hardware, massive maps that are designed for jets, metro meat grinder.
I know they were trying to make like a full-on war scale type of thing. I think it would have done pretty well. But we all know for a fact that the 2042 thing, they were trying to copy Call of Duty with the whole, like, I guess you could say the specialist. You know, they're trying to basically copy the hero shooter type of mechanic shit, which, you know, I thought it was like okay, but it wasn't really like anything special. And I think you could, but you have to carefully balance it and carefully make maps specifically designed for the 124 players or whatever it is, 125 or whatever, that for that specific type of scale. So problem is, if they even have the balls to do it, but they couldn't, and then also on top of that, in 2042 they didn't add the much destruction ability, so it felt kind of like cheap. Felt like a pretty cheap copy or so, because there were so many clips that like people were like slamming their like airplane jets into some of the buildings, but like it just makes them bounce off, and they didn't really like crash into it and explode or cause chaos or anything, or wreckage or anything. No, it was just kind of like boop.
There's esports leagues, hardcore gunplay, and of course all the meme-worthy moments like jumping out of your plane, doing a no-scope in the other dude, and then stealing his
just boing
plane.
off of it.
Stuff like that. Now, each of those things is legitimately part of the Battlefield community that DICE wants to serve. Not all of them are compatible at the same time on the same map. But here's the thing.
It's funny how they use that
Battlefield
specific
community as a
advertisement.
whole has literally never achieved sales that even resemble what we have seen here. And to be the best-selling game of 2025, you basically have to reach beyond those people. And it seems that is what they've done. Battlefield 6 can't survive on just the lifelong Battlefield fans alone. It also has to be a viable alternative for Call of Duty, whilst also reactivating those lapsed players. That doesn't mean it has to be Call of Duty, obviously, but it needs to be a viable alternative, because EA obviously wants those COD players to buy their game instead. So because of that, this is a modern shooter in the fullest sense. It is built around...
It makes sense. They want to pull in those Call of Duty players that have been, you know, kind of like complaining and everything, to bring them over to the Battlefield franchise. I can kind of get it, but I think you could find a good balance between catering the old Battlefield fans and the new ones that are coming in from the Call of Duty side of things. I think there is a way to balance it. Is to, I guess you can say, make maps specifically designed, or game modes or so. You could probably make maps, make a good chunk of like a good two handful of maps, and then have those game modes for those if you want the big version of the maps. And then you can have a separate playlist for the smaller maps, you know, for the more run and gunplay style.
Would expect. Even UI-wise, it almost looks like a streaming service to people perhaps like you and me.
I hate the fucking UI in this thing. Honestly, I hate this fucking UI. Honestly, this is just like the Call of Duty UI, and I fucking hate it, dude. I hate this UI. I don't fucking understand why we can't have like just literally have the fucking stupid names of the fucking game modes here. Like have a menu and then a sub menu, and then have like the background show like the preview of the gameplay or so, you know?
Or a little bit more hardcore in our tastes, that's kind of annoying, but I think it speaks to the sort of audience they're going for. People who want to sit down at their TV and just enjoy something through a UI that they basically are familiar with. You've got that. You have seasonality, the linked free-to-play modes. All of those things come directly from the franchise that's topped the charts for 17 years. They're directly from Call of Duty. And clearly it seems to have worked, because a lot of that audience has showed up. But as we'll get to soon, it's not just the wins of Battlefield, it's very much also the losses of Call of Duty. But to hold those people...
Yeah, I'm tired of that Hulu Netflix
each
UI
new job is a chance
as
to
well.
convert one of those free-to-play battle royalers into a payer, or to generate the press and the social coverage that'll get someone to buy the game. But the problem with a progress model that's got to work even for the free-to-plays means a lot of grinding, and players have already made it clear that grinding for guns and skins for a whole month won't be acceptable. And because of that, DICE actually responded. They reworked the challenges. And what's interesting is
did
we
they?
compare this to Battlefield 2042, a game that went almost 6 months without content updates. And basically, that's because the whole franchise's development pipeline was being rebuilt.
Yeah.
And eventually that worked, even for Battlefield 2042. We did some coverage about how that game's later life actually ended up being really good. Loads of people in the comments kind of said, well, I don't believe that and I don't really care. But I think what's obvious is the hard work that they put in to sort of salvage that has actually paid off with Battlefield 6. Because by contrast, a month and a half out from the game's launch, we've got 2 new maps, a battle royale, a suite of other systems, plus everything that's happened with Portal. That's a lot of stuff. And some people don't love one of those maps. I'm okay with Blackwell Fields, but yeah, Eastwood is way better. But still, there's a subset who do like those maps, and map diversity is important in a game like this. And that's for the simple reason that Battlefield 6 is trying to hold all of the capture points at once. And commercially, it seems they've actually succeeded. But all of that comes at a cost. There are things Battlefield Studios simply can't fix in a month, not with a live service schedule breathing down their necks. They can't just throw out a new map in response to complaints. But I will say the post-launch trajectory has been encouraging. The egregious skins that worried players actually got pulled. Even the neon green Razer collaboration was reworked. And that's a fairly big one.
Really?
It's great that they can basically go to Razer and say, hey, this is too much, this is giving us blowback, and I suppose Razer could think, well, we don't want our brand to be associated with something that people don't like. So we actually got a good solution for everyone involved. And as that's happening, and as the team is settling into the content delivery, most major bugs have been tackled. We're not flying around on our hammer drones, we don't have the anti-air missile
What
bullshit.
the fuck?
Now in some cases, they may have
Are you
overcorrected.
telling me this motherfucker is on top of a drone trying to shoot people from up above in the sky? God damn, Jesus Christ. These kind of people ruin the game, I ain't gonna lie, to be honest.
Recoil and aim assist adjustments went a little bit too far, and yeah, they came down too hard in Portal's XP farming whilst they were solving their challenge grind issues. But each of those overcorrections has been walked back and adjusted. And for what it's worth, when we went digging around social media, it became clear that the devs are way more open about what's coming, even including them talking about map size considerations. But despite doing all of this, despite doing everything
But abusing the shit
possible
out of
to
it?
appeal
Come
to
on,
as
man.
many people as possible, they are still not Call of Duty. Turns out
That's
Call
some
of
nerd
Duty
shit.
is not dead yet, even though it is absolutely lying down and bleeding out.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Literally.
definitely dead.
Yeah, for COD the vibes, I think have never been worse. I was there for Call of Duty Ghosts, but I think the dooming I'm seeing is probably stronger this time around. When we take a look at Steam, we see the concurrent player numbers are trending down, and of course,
It's even
COD is
worse
played in
now.
Battle.net on PC. That might mitigate things a little bit, but the direction is clear. And yet, look at this. Circana's player engagement tracker for the week ending November 5th shows Call of Duty HQ back at the #1 spot by weekly active users, whilst Battlefield 6 has actually dropped in the console rankings. Though if you take a look at their Steam tracker, we actually see Battlefield is still doing really well. It still is at the top spot. And that's fairly big because it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison. These games launched fairly far apart, so
Yeah,
this
1
is
month from each
Battlefield,
other.
yes, with seasonal stuff happening, but it's Battlefield fighting the launch of a new Call of Duty. But it's still clear the raw player base is there for COD. Now, the reviews are harsh, and those reviews will matter, even if it's only for word of mouth. And when you look at the direct sales comparisons, I think the picture gets a little bit more stark. So take a look at this, and hey, if you're a lifelong Battlefield fan, maybe this is your time to just, have a pint and drink to its success. So, in Europe, digital and physical launch sales for Battlefield ran 63% higher than COD. That is according to the game business. Now, remember,
Damn,
those Circana player
63%?
tracker numbers were just, for the week ending November 15th.
That's
which is obviously not a
crazy.
like-for-like comparison. So, the
Hey,
Battlefield
Cookie.
was 63% higher than COD in Europe. Well, that's pretty damn
It's
big.
Jover for
Now,
Call of Duty,
factor
man.
in,
It's
of course, that
Jover.
a chunk of COD sales will actually not really be sales. They'll rather be Game Pass on console and PC rather than a full purchase. But still, you do see a massive sales gap. And yet, COD may still outsell Battlefield by year's end. You see, Ampere analysis found that across all three platforms, 4.5 million COD players had played Battlefield 6 in the previous weeks, which is actually more than half of what Electronic Arts reported selling in launch week. So, from all of this, we can glean that sheer size still does matter, and Call of Duty is available on PS4 and Xbox One, along with their massive install bases. That still will matter. But of course, if you're a Battlefield fan, you may look at that and think, oh, so we launched on less consoles and we still have more sales? Yeah, feels pretty good. But what we see is that Call of Duty's 17 years of dominance and the infrastructure and the habits that that's all built, it's not collapsed in one bad cycle. But if these issues keep on happening, maybe it will. If that's the case, Microsoft may not be that happy. And if Microsoft aren't that happy with their margin, well, we know what that means for Xbox. So, Battlefield and EA have basically got within touching distance of something people thought was basically impossible. For the first time in 20 years, Battlefield may actually outsell COD, but in doing so, they have proved it's, in a way, because they're becoming a little bit more like Call of Duty. Or maybe, at least, a little bit more like what Call of Duty used to be for people like me. The big question, though, is how Activision responds. Whenever Battlefield 2042 flopped as hard as it did, they clearly went back to basics, and they emphasized quality. Now, I don't think that came across in the campaign.
The question is, the curiosity is if they're going to keep up the quality aspect of Battlefield. Are they going to keep it up, or is their greed going to take over and start making yearly releases or bi-yearly releases of battle, or are they gonna go back to their old ways, basically, you know, ruining Battlefield? That's my curiosity. Like, yes, they did really well right now, but the question is, are they going to keep up that quality though, consistently from now on, to keep outperforming Call of Duty?
But it's a core Battlefield that basically is brilliant at many of the Battlefield things. The question then with Call of Duty is, will they be willing to do that? Will they be willing to change their dev cycle so that the games actually get more time?
They better.
So that they can compete against Battlefield with actual quality rather than just...
Well, I say that, but I don't know if they're willing to do that, though. They better do it, but knowing Activision, I don't know, man. They're too greedy, bro. That company is way too greedy for them to like not bother changing their life cycle, like dev life cycle for Call of Duty. I don't know. I really doubt it, to be honest. I have no idea.
Just a endless torrent of slop machine. That'll be the big question. Now, to do the right thing, which would be to take time and ensure that Call of Duty is on target, well, they're going to have to give up some revenue. They're going to have to make some tough calls. And I don't see that being something their leadership feel like they can do with Microsoft breathing down their neck. Because even if they want to do something that's good for the long term, I think we've quite clearly seen that Microsoft are not always playing the long-term game. But you know who is? Simon and Philippe. They have actually acquired Hytale again. The game has been revived. It'll be out real soon, and you can learn all about it in this video next.
Yeah, I heard about Hytale being about to come out in the future, actually, surprisingly enough. But yeah, overall, I don't think, no, I really don't think that freaking Call of Duty is going to change their life cycle. It has to be like, the only way that I can think of that they can do it, right? If it drastically hits the player numbers super harshly on them. As in, like, their numbers are even going more down to the point of it being in, like, in the 40s to 50Ks, like, for the max 24 peak hours, you know? That's the only way they'll be able to do it, but by that time or so, I don't think they're going to do it. And even then, my question is how many of them would come back if they do change their dev cycle? But the other problem is, right, it's not just that specifically that's also calculated. There's other different factors of the reason why certain Call of Duty players have also left as well, which is the skill-based matchmaking, the goofy-ass skins, even though they said they're not gonna do it, but apparently they are. The amount of bugs that there is in this game as well, and also the reason why they don't want to, like, basically like how they don't want to have their own launcher for Call of Duty. Like let's say next year's Call of Duty is the next Modern Warfare game, right? So the next year Modern Warfare, it'll be Modern Warfare 4, right? Apparently leaks are saying that Modern Warfare 4 is going to be happening next year, right? The problem is that it's going to be on the Call of Duty launcher again. And I bet you it's gonna break. It's gonna break. Well, not I'm gonna say break, but it's not gonna. It's just gonna cause more problems and more bugs. Because remember, a while back or so, many while back, I think it was during Cold War era of Call of Duty, where there was some problem or so with the launcher that you were not allowed. You couldn't play any of the other Call of Duty games because apparently a certain update broke the other previous Call of Duty games on the same launcher, and it completely fucked up everything. So I do remember that from a long time ago, and that's what happened back then. I was, of course, I wasn't playing. I was just watching like YouTubers and stuff like that, you know, talking about it and everything. But that was one of the issues I was having. A lot of people hated that. They hated the Call of Duty launcher, having all the Call of Duty games on one stupid fucking launcher and everything, and all this other shit. Like overall, to be honest, I just want its own thing. You know, I click start, it boots up the game, and I don't have to go into one menu. I don't have to go into like clicking. It'll show up the launcher, and then I have to click again, and then it has to, you know, basically restart and then return on to get into that Call of Duty again, and then there's a fucking update and all this other shit. And I hate all this shit. It's stupid. Fucking hate it. It's dumb. It's dumb as fuck. That's the only thing why I hate the new modern version of Call of Duty. But yeah. Anyways, that was a pretty fun conversation. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah. Even then, do you guys think that Call of Duty verifying shaders? Brother, I hate verifying shaders. I will crash the fuck out on verifying shaders, okay? I hate the shader compilation bullshit shit, bruh. Like, I swear, we had PC games that you could just boot up the game and you didn't have to worry about, like, you know, verifying the stupid shaders and all this other. It has to, like, oh, I gotta wait for this fucking stupid shader shit to verification so my graphic card doesn't fucking melt or anything like that. I'm like, bull fucking shit, bro. I'm like, I remember the time or so where you just can turn on the game, pop in the game, turn it on, and it'll boot up the game itself, and you didn't have to do it, man. Those were the good times, man. Honestly, all these bullshit-ass, new-ass games, they have to verify the shaders because these devs are lazy. These devs are lazy, man. I'll crash the fuck out on that one. I hate it. Fucking hate it. I don't care. I don't care if you're trying to justify that shit. I hate the shit out of that thing, no matter what. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And subscribe! I'm trying to hit 20K or so before the end of the year, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can, but if not, well, there always is a next time at the end of the day. Even if we don't, I'll probably just stop pushing it, you know, and that's it. So I'm gonna let it go slowly. But anyways, that's the end of the video, and fuck shader compilation. Peace.